Hello, and welcome to another captivating episode of Storyloom English. I'm so excited to share today's adventure with you. We have a wonderful story designed for two elementary-level learners called The Magic Recipe Book. This delightful tale will help you practice past simple and past continuous tenses, along with essential vocabulary related to cooking, family traditions, and problem-solving. Our story follows 12-year-old Marco, who lives with his grandmother in a small Italian village. When Marco accidentally discovers that his grandmother's old recipe book has some very special and unexpected powers, he learns important lessons about responsibility, family heritage, and the real magic that exists in everyday life. This story uses clear, simple language, with approximately 150 key vocabulary words that are perfect for elementary English learners. As you listen, pay attention to how we use cooking vocabulary, family-related words, and expressions for describing emotions and reactions. You'll also notice how we use time expressions like suddenly, then, and after that to show the sequence of events in our story. The grammar focus includes regular and irregular past tense verbs, simple conjunctions, and basic descriptive adjectives that will help you tell your own stories about past events. We'll also practice common phrases for expressing surprise, worry, and excitement, emotions that we all experience in daily life. After Marco's adventure, I'll explain some important vocabulary words and show you how to use them in your own conversations about cooking, family, and solving problems. This story combines entertainment with practical language learning, giving you useful words and phrases that you can use when talking about food, family traditions, or describing unexpected events. So get comfortable, maybe grab a snack, and let's discover the magic hidden in Marco's grandmother's kitchen. I promise this will be both educational and absolutely enchanting. Marco lived with his grandmother Rosa in a beautiful village in the mountains of Italy. Every morning, he woke up to the smell of fresh bread and coffee coming from the kitchen downstairs. Grandmother Rosa was famous in the village for her delicious cooking. People came from far away to taste her pasta, her pizza, and especially her amazing chocolate cake. Marco loved helping his grandmother in the kitchen, but he was not a very good cook yet. Sometimes he burned the bread, sometimes he put too much salt in the soup, and once he even broke 3 plates while washing dishes. But Grandmother Rosa was always patient with him. "Don't worry, Marco," she always said with a smile. "Cooking is like learning to read. You need time and practice to become good at it." One rainy Tuesday afternoon, Marco was alone in the house while his grandmother went to the market to buy vegetables for dinner. He was feeling bored, so he decided to explore the old wooden cupboard in the kitchen where his grandmother kept her cooking books. Marco had seen this cupboard many times, but he had never looked inside it carefully. The cupboard was very old and painted green, with small flowers decorating the doors. When Marco opened it, he found many interesting things: old photographs of his family, letters tied with red ribbons, and several recipe books with yellow pages. At the back of the cupboard, behind all the other books, Marco discovered a very special book that he had never seen before. It was much older than the others, with a dark blue cover and strange golden letters that he couldn't read. The book felt warm in his hands, which was unusual because the kitchen was quite cold that day. Marco opened the book carefully and saw that it was full of recipes, but they were written in a very old style that was difficult to understand. The first page had a recipe for happiness soup, and the second page showed instructions for friendship bread. Marco thought these were funny names for recipes. He decided to try making the happiness soup because he was curious and because he wanted to surprise his grandmother with dinner when she came home. The recipe was strange to him. It asked for normal ingredients like tomatoes, onions, and herbs, but it also said mysterious things like add 3 drops of morning sunlight and stir with love in your heart. Marco didn't understand what these instructions meant, but he decided to follow the recipe as well as he could. He started by chopping the tomatoes and onions, just like his grandmother had taught him. Then he heated some olive oil in a large pot and added the vegetables. As he stirred the soup, he thought about how much he loved his grandmother and how grateful he was to live with her. He imagined that this was what stirring with love meant. When Marco opened the window to let in some fresh air, a beam of sunlight came into the kitchen. He laughed and pretended to catch 3 drops of sunlight in a spoon, then added them to the soup. As soon as he did this, something amazing happened. The soup began to smell absolutely wonderful, much better than anything Marco had ever cooked before. The kitchen filled with the most delicious aroma, and Marco felt incredibly happy and excited. Just then, his grandmother came home from the market. "Marco," she called as she entered the house. "What is that beautiful smell? It smells like heaven in here." Marco ran to greet his grandmother, feeling very proud of his cooking. "I made soup for you, Nona. I used a recipe from an old book I found in the cupboard." Grandmother Rosa stopped walking and looked at Marco with surprise. "What book did you use, Marco?" she asked, and her voice sounded different, almost worried. Marco showed her the blue book with golden letters. When Grandmother Rosa saw it, her eyes became very wide, and she sat down on a chair. "Oh my goodness, Marco! This is my grandmother's recipe book. I thought it was lost many years ago." "Is something wrong, Nona?" Marco asked, because his grandmother looked shocked. "No, nothing is wrong," she said softly, "but this book is very special. It belonged to my grandmother, your great-great-grandmother Maria. She was known in the village as a woman who could cook magical food. People said her recipes could make sad people happy, help sick people feel better, and bring families together." Marco didn't understand. "But it's just a recipe book, isn't it?" Grandmother Rosa smiled and put her arm around Marco. "Let's taste your soup and see," she said. They went to the kitchen together, and Grandmother Rosa served the soup in 2 bowls. When they tasted it, something wonderful happened. Both Marco and his grandmother felt incredibly happy and peaceful. All of Marco's worries about school disappeared, and Grandmother Rosa forgot about her back pain that had been bothering her for weeks. They looked at each other and started laughing with joy. "Marco," Grandmother Rosa said, "I think you have discovered that there really is magic in this book. But the magic doesn't come from mysterious ingredients. It comes from cooking with love, care, and good intentions." Over the next few weeks, Marco and his grandmother experimented with more recipes from the magical book. They made friendship bread and gave it to their neighbors, Mrs. Benedetti and Mr. Caruso, who had been arguing for months about their garden fence. After eating the bread together, the 2 neighbors became friends again and even decided to plant a shared vegetable garden. They also made comfort cookies for Marco's friend Luigi, who was feeling sad because his dog was sick. The cookies didn't magically cure the dog, but they made Luigi feel better and gave him hope. Most importantly, they helped Luigi understand that his friends cared about him during difficult times. Marco learned that the magic in the recipes came from the love and care that he put into cooking, and from sharing food with people who needed comfort, friendship, or happiness. The mysterious instructions in the book were just reminders to cook with good feelings in your heart. One evening, as Marco and his grandmother were making dinner together, Marco asked, "Nona, why didn't you tell me about the magical recipe book before?" Grandmother Rosa thought for a moment before answering. "Because, my dear Marco, magic only works when you discover it yourself. If I had told you about the book, you might not have believed me. Or you might have used it for the wrong reasons. But when you found it and used it with love in your heart, the magic became real." Marco understood what his grandmother meant. The real magic wasn't in the book itself, but in the love and kindness that people shared when they cooked and ate together. From that day on, Marco became a much better cook, but more importantly, he learned that the best ingredient in any recipe is love. He and his grandmother continued to use the special recipe book, but only when they wanted to help someone who was sad, lonely, or in need of comfort. Marco realized that his great-great-grandmother Maria had created these recipes not to perform tricks or miracles, but to remind people that food cooked with love has the power to heal hearts, bring people together, and make the world a little bit happier. Years later, when Marco became a man and had his own family, he would tell his children about the magical recipe book and teach them that the most important ingredients in cooking and in life are love, kindness, and the desire to make others happy. Now let's explore some essential vocabulary from Marco's magical adventure that will help you in everyday English conversations. The word patient describes someone who can wait calmly and doesn't get angry or frustrated when things take time. Grandmother Rosa was patient with Marco when he made mistakes in the kitchen. You can say, "Please be patient while I learn how to drive." Or, "The teacher is very patient with her students." Explore means to look around and investigate a place or thing carefully to discover what's there. Marco decided to explore the old cupboard in his grandmother's kitchen. You might hear, let's explore the new shopping mall, or scientists explore the ocean to discover new species of fish. The word mysterious describes something that is difficult to understand or explain, often in an intriguing way. The recipe book had mysterious instructions that Marco couldn't understand at first. You can use this word to say, there was a mysterious noise in the attic, or she has a mysterious smile that no one can figure out. Aroma is a pleasant smell, especially from food or flowers. When Marco cooked the soup, the kitchen filled with a wonderful aroma. This word is often used for positive smells. The aroma of coffee filled the cafe, or I love the aroma of fresh flowers in spring. Ingredients are the different foods or items that you need to make a recipe or create something. Marco gathered all the ingredients for the happiness soup. In cooking, you might say, this cake recipe needs 6 different ingredients, or I need to buy ingredients for tonight's dinner. Comfort, as a noun, refers to a feeling of relief from sadness, worry, or pain. The comfort cookies helped Luigi feel better when his dog was sick. You can provide comfort by saying kind words or doing helpful actions. She found comfort in her friend's support, or the warm blanket gave him comfort on the cold night. Finally, intentions are your plans or purposes for doing something, especially related to whether you want to help or harm. The magic worked when Marco cooked with good intentions. You might say, she had good intentions when she tried to help. Or, his intentions were unclear, so I wasn't sure if I should trust him. What a heartwarming and magical journey we've experienced with Marco today. This beautiful story teaches us so many valuable lessons that extend far beyond the kitchen. Marco's discovery of his great-great-grandmother's recipe book reminds us that the most powerful magic in life often comes from the simplest acts of love and kindness. When Marco cooked with care and shared his food with others who needed comfort, he created real magic. Not because of supernatural powers, but because of the genuine human connection that happens when we care for one another. The story also beautifully illustrates how family traditions and heritage connect us across generations. Marco's great-great-grandmother Maria understood something that took Marco time to learn: that food is much more than nutrition for our bodies. When we cook and share meals with love, we nourish people's hearts and souls as well. This is why family recipes are so special. They carry not just instructions for making food, but memories, love, and care from one generation to the next. Another important lesson from Marco's adventure is that the best learning often happens through discovery rather than instruction. Grandmother Rosa wisely allowed Marco to find the magical book himself because she knew that this personal discovery would make the experience more meaningful and authentic. This reminds us that in language learning, as in life, the most powerful insights often come when we explore and experiment on our own, making mistakes and discoveries along the way. Marco's transformation from a clumsy cook who burned bread and broke dishes into someone who could create magical meals also shows us the importance of patience and practice. His grandmother's gentle encouragement and understanding helped him develop confidence and skills gradually. This is exactly how language learning works. We all make mistakes at first, but with patience, practice, and encouragement from others, we gradually become more skilled and confident. As you continue your English learning journey, remember Marco's story and the real magic that happens when you approach learning with curiosity, patience, and a desire to connect with others. Every new word you learn, every conversation you have, and every story you understand is like adding a new ingredient to your personal recipe for success. Don't worry if you make mistakes or if progress sometimes feels slow. Just like Marco's cooking, your English skills will improve with time, practice, and the right intentions. Thank you for joining me today at Storyloom English for this enchanting tale of magic, family, and the power of cooking with love. I hope Marco's story has inspired you to approach your own challenges with patience and kindness, and to remember that the most beautiful achievements in life come from caring about others. Don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming stories that will help you learn English while discovering the magic that exists in everyday life. Until next time, keep practicing, keep exploring, and keep spreading a little magic wherever you go.